Deer and beer.
Well, in that case, welcome back to Gear and Beer. A
Cheers.
toast, if you will. A cheers is what I say, but I was
Yeah.
corrected once and still mad about it. But I won't even go into the whole Megadeth subgenre debate.
What is that about?
I just said I'm not going.
Right. Dang.
So this week we welcome Kurt Ozan of Cooper City, Florida,
Right.
which I believe is in Broward County.
You did your homework right.
And that concludes the research that I've done. So, Kurt, thank you for being here.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for bringing me some beer and cooking me dinner also.
You brought you to me, and I gave you the beer.
That's true.
I think that's how you would say that. Does that sound right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you brought... Oh, no, you didn't bring anything. So we're just going to talk about stuff that... I have a few questions for you. As I was saying earlier, you're the first guest whom I haven't known for years. We've known each other for maybe 2 months.
Yeah, it's like when you're selling Cutco knives, you start with like your friends and family, then you branch out and do like some people that you just kind of know.
You're giving away my whole business plan.
Right. Also, I did do Cutco knives.
Did you?
Yeah, I sold that like when I was 18 for like 2 months. And I sold enough to pay back like the amount of... You spend like $100 to buy like a kit, like a demo kit. And I made like $100.
You carry it around in like a suitcase or whatever?
Yeah, I think so. Or like a bag.
Or as I call it, a pedal board case?
Yeah. It was like a knife roll kind of.
Oh, copy like a chef's tool roll?
It was like that awkward period between high school and college where it's like you can't just like get a job because you're
about to leave?
Yeah.
Interesting. Tell me about this college. What is that a thing you go to? I'm not familiar.
Okay. Yeah. So I went to Berklee College of Music, of course, and as we talked to earlier, and it was super great.
Well,
and there you go.
If it's responsible for your ability to music in any way, then I'd say they've done well and you've done well.
Yeah.
You sound very nice as a player of music.
Thank you.
On multiple instruments. Your career reflects that, I would say, with the sessions and playing with Luke.
Yeah. Well, I guess I should say...
You have a lot of friends. People like you.
I appreciate that, man. I try really hard to get people to like me, even if that, I have to change myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're a bit of a social chameleon, if you will.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. I'm just serious.
I always laugh because, so just for the people that are listening, I play for Luke Combs, so that's my job.
That is your job.
And it's really great.
People know that.
And
some don't.
Luke's like the best. But not everyone in the band is like a musician, they're all musicians, obviously, but they're not like a well-studied musician in the sense of like, I went to school and learned E minor pentatonic scale and F minor pentatonic scale, or et cetera, and chords and all that shit, Some of the guys just grew up playing country music and just they've done it their entire lives and they're really good. And I'm like, I grew up playing rock music, which I assume you did.
I did. He did. Lyndon and McCarty over here twisting and tweaking as always.
Yeah. So there's a lot of guys in Nashville
sure.
that are rock guys. So that's kind of how I grew up. But there's a couple of us in the band that are like musical guys and a couple that aren't. So it's always fun to think about the differences in players. And they make fun of me. They're like, hey, we're on the same gig, but we get paid the same, but I don't have any like student loans or any shit like that.
That's a little rough, but
yeah.
Presumably you give it right back.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And say something like, "That's really funny, you uncultured swine," or something, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've had people say it to me before. I'm not going to name any names because this is like kind of dark, but I've had friends that have said that to me before that lost their gig and aren't on a gig now. So it's like, too bad you can't do other things. But whatever, like, everyone.
Universe be sending them vibes right back, though. You know what I'm saying?
But it's cool to see like in Nashville, there's so many great players that are just like insanely talented that didn't go to music school. That just kind of did it like the old school way, which is like listening to records and playing what's on the record and then changing.
I think that if you went to music school, you probably spent a fair amount of time doing that as well, though. I did. I didn't go to music school per se. I did study music in community college. One of my things that I like to say that I'm sure my parents will shudder at is I've been to high school and college. I didn't graduate from either.
Oh, yeah. Well, at least you have a podcast now.
Hi, Mom.
Love you, Mom. Well,
sorry.
let's just take a few minutes here and I'm just going to just say I want to thank my mom and dad for paying for my music lessons.
Same, bro.
Also, one thing I want to talk about on this podcast, because this is called Gear and Beer, right?
That's true. You want to talk about beer or gear?
Gear.
Oh, okay.
When I was a kid, I wanted a distortion pedal, and my mom was like, "Well, doesn't your Yeah, my first
pedal.
one." And I'm like, "Well, I want to have like this hard rock tone, so I could sound like Metallica."
Did you get a Rat?
No.
I'm sorry. Tell the story, and I'll quit trying to guess it. That's what my girlfriend does.
Okay. Well, you should have her on the podcast sometime. You guys can just guess each other's sentences. But and I was trying to explain to my mom like I want a distortion pedal, but she's like, "Doesn't your amp have distortion?" I'm like, "But it doesn't sound good." She's like, "It does it." It's like I always had a problem like explaining gear to like non-musicians. I don't know if you guys have had that problem. Like I see you have like 50 guitars over there. Like you don't need 4 acoustics, right?
I mean, I think I need more than that.
I agree. Yeah. That's just something I've always run into. I was just wondering if you had done that.
No, it's difficult to explain. It's like, why do you need so many of these little boxes? Like, can't you just get one that does everything? And I'm just like, one that does everything. There will be time spent a lot in certain areas, and then they'll be like, oh, shit, it's time to go home today. And then they forget about that distortion patch, or the flanger sounds like, hot garbage water.
Poo-poo.
Yeah, poo-poo.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it never works out. Even with the advent of such technology as the Helix and the Axe Effects 11
Which is the
rack,
best one of those? Do you have experience with those?
I have experience hearing other people do them, and I have a friend and a podcast guest that is a Line 6 product specialist and Yamaha guitar group rep, and he makes it sound amazing. It's never been so much about the sound for me that I didn't get what I was looking for, but it's more of like just, the interaction between, and I think it has something to do with like impedance or load, but like when you strike the string into an amp, it like feels a certain way, like, and even the difference between a British circuit and a Fender circuit, the SAG, I believe they call it. I don't technically know what that is or how or what it does, but there's a definite feeling to me that's different, and I can't play very good if things don't feel like I expect or want them to, I guess. So I've never been able to play one and sound good. Now, I also haven't purchased one and spent 6 months trying to make it sound good.
Yeah.
But if Line 6 wants to shoot me one, I'll be glad to play it and figure out the absolute best iteration of it. I have a friend, a guy that I play with in a band. We play downtown and do like corporate events and stuff. And he's using it just as a pedal board, and then he plays it in through a Seymour Duncan digital power amp that it's like this big. It's like, some digital wattage rating that just doesn't even make sense, like 7,000 watts or something. It's not, but it's a number that doesn't tell me anything because it's digital and I'm just not familiar. And through an actual speaker, and I played through that, and it feels different than just playing a Helix through an ears scenario or a speaker monitor, studio monitors. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Like when I was growing up, I would always like play guitar late at night. That's when I'd spend most of the time practicing. And I had a little headphone amp with like some built-in stuff.
Oh, dope.
And so I guess I kind of grew up doing it that way. But on the road with Luke, like I'm not using any modeling amps or anything.
What are you playing, if you don't mind me asking? So are you doing you're playing electric guitar
Yes.
and dobro and steel. Is that it?
And mandolin.
Oh, a mando too, really?
Yeah, and I play banjo.
Banjo or ganjo?
Banjo.
I love you.
Love you too, man. Thanks for the beer also. But and what else do I play? Something. I think there's one more. I think it's like 5 or 6 things. But so I'll tell you guys a little bit about my gear, so that if people that are listening are into gear, they'll know. I mainly probably play pedal steel guitar for most of the show. I would say probably like 45%. I'm gonna guess, maybe a little less than half.
And do you just have a single neck?
Yeah, so I have a single neck. It's a Mullen G2 steel guitar, and I'm running that into a Robert Randolph PV steel guitar amp. So it's like solid state. It's really clean. It has like overdrive and stuff on it that I don't really use often, but it sounds really good. A lot of pedal steel guitar players like use like those old PV solid state amps.
Yeah, the Nashville 400s and the professional or
I have the Nashville
Bandit.
Yeah, I have the Nashville 112. I think it is. Maybe it's the 400, and I really don't like it at all. It's super mid-range.
Some dudes make it sound great, but some. I mean,
I can't get it to work with mine.
I'm not a very good steel player at the moment. I have a serious workload ahead of me to try to make that less true. But when I play it, I usually just play it through that Pro or that Twin. And
I've done plenty of sessions and live stuff, either playing through a Twin or a Pro for sure.
But those can't go on the road. I mean, I guess they could, but they're old, so. And they've both been redone, so they're probably about as durable as they could be. So I just don't. I worry about taking old stuff on the road and it falling apart on me, and then I just have a piece of vintage garbage.
Well, the cool thing about the Robert Randolph amp is it's solid state, so it's pretty durable.
Sure.
And it's new, and it sounds great, and I really like it a lot. And the cabinet is really cool. It's a stereo cab.
Oh, okay.
So it's got built-in like ping pong delays and stuff that I don't know how to use.
It's got a bunch of built like onboard effects. Do you use a board with your steel?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
So
do you have just one board, or do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have one pedal board, and it's got like it has my paddle steel chain, which is essentially like a full drive 2. I'll bring that out sometime. That exact same one. The MOSFET or whatever that one is. Is that right?
No, this is not the MOSFET. This is
it's that color.
This is V2. V1 is the push pull. This is the switch, and then the MOSFET is the MOSFET.
Okay, well, whatever. It's the same one as that. And I use that. I have a delay that I use, a tuner, and sometimes a phaser.
Oh,
for like
which
that.
phaser?
It's one of the new Fender ones.
Oh, I didn't know they were making one.
It's cool. For that country, like...
Yeah, the whale-any thing.
Yeah, whale-any thing, exactly. And then there's a delay on the amp, and I keep one for slapback and one for longer delays.
Oh, okay.
And then, so I also play electric guitar.
Is there a foot control for that?
So there's a pedal, and then there's a little mini pedal boardish looking thing. It's like a little black thing that connects to the pedal steel leg. So then there's little buttons you can push, like turn the reverb on and off, turn the delay on and off,
That's
turn
dope.
the amp overdrive, stuff like that.
There was this old dude that played steel back Dallas, where I'm from. He actually lived in Oklahoma, but he worked in Dallas and played steel, and he was a great steel player. He had this pedal that he called dobro in a box. That's not what it was called, I don't think. Maybe it was called that he had clipped to his leg that he would turn on, and he would play steel. But, I mean, it sounded just like a dobro.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never seen before or since, and I need to call him and find out what it is.
Yeah, I've seen those around too, but I bring the dobro out on the road just because it's more than just you're playing a live show. It's not just about the sound,
totally.
And so like I like to get the dobro out and run out on the catwalk and play my licks and walk around and stuff like that.
Are you?
I also play lap steel too on the road.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, or like a whatever slide guitar kind of thing.
Do you have a PV Power Glide?
No, I don't.
Dude, those things look horrible and
they're
sound
so ugly.
amazing.
Yeah, they're great.
They sound amazing, but
the really cheap lap steel, the one that is
it's like $200
or
maybe $300. They sound really good. They're real ballsy.
So I've heard but I thought the same thing when I saw them. I was like, this looks
Yeah.
like we were talking about earlier with Mark. It looks like it's not funky.
Yeah. It does not.
Is that an inside joke?
That was a
of.
YouTube
I
comment.
love inside jokes. I hope to be a part of one.
We'll let
one
you
day.
in. It was a YouTube comment that somebody left on Mark's page about his new guitar, and he was like, "Say what you want about me or about my family, but this guitar, just because it doesn't look fun." He was pissed, but it was hilarious. That was it.
What was the comment?
This he said it was it was like a lengthy, like a paragraph, but the guitar just didn't look funky, so it couldn't sound funky or something.
Oh,
It's like, this guy has not spent 1 second listening to Mark Lettieri play the guitar.
So the Power Glide doesn't look country, I guess.
No,
No.
it don't look anything. It looks like it should cost about $200.
and that's what it does. But there people use it to rock. You know, it's not going to be like your really clean, like old school, like Hank Senior.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, it's definitely like an overdrive lap slide.
Which is like
sound.
I don't do any clean stuff on the lap anyway.
Very few people
Because
use
why
that
not?
sound.
I'd rather just play it on steel.
Exactly.
Oh, anyway, back to my pedal board.
Yes.
So that's my signal chain for the steel. Then I play electric guitar, and I also run my lap steel through the same thing. And I have the amp is a Marshall Bluesbreaker clone,
Oh, okay.
and it's called a Tyler Ampworks. Tyler.
Oh, you're using Tyler too?
Yeah,
Nice.
and it's called a JT46.
Oh, I've checked those out. I've been wanting to get possibly a Tyler, so I was checking those out, and they sound amazing.
Well, all the people in churches use them, so
Yeah.
right. So
My buddy Boo, I think his tech's family is Tyler Amps. He just started playing.
They're a California company, right?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
I thought they were in Nashville.
Yeah, I think
For
they're-
some reason, I thought they were California. I don't know why.
I'm
Well,
not sure.
the owner's son goes to Belmont. I tried
Okay.
to get him to be our guitar tech, but it didn't work out.
Huh.
But so that's what
What's
he's.
his name?
I don't know. JT, something with JT because the amp's named after him.
Okay. Sorry,
Justin?
you were running us through your signal chain.
Well,
and
now
we
I'm very
keep bunny
confused.
trailing you.
Does he have multiple sons?
I have no idea. I don't
Maybe
know
it's a
anything.
cousin that's Boo's guitar tech. I'm just confused. I'm sorry.
Um,
Pedal boards.
That's right. So I run.
Welcome back to Gear and Beer with
Yes.
Kurt Ozan.
That's true. So I run into I have an EP boost on the board, which I think those sound cool.
They do sound very cool.
The problem with that is I buy this. I put on the board because I was switching between like a humbucking guitar and like a Tele, and I have these like vintagey Lawlers, like the Lawler 52s and the Tele. I like the sound of them, but they're really low output. So then I put that on, and then I turned it on, and then when I pulled the other guitar in, the pedal was still on. It sounded really good, so then I just never turn it off. So it's like this endless feedback loop of needing to buy more EP boosts.
So what did you change any of the factory settings? I know there's like dip switches on the inside.
No.
So I have one as well, and I keep it flat, or well, how it is in the factory setting.
I'm really not like a huge gear like tinkerer.
I'm not a tinkerer. I buy something. If it sounds like I want it to, I keep it. If it
Yeah.
doesn't, I don't.
Yeah, same. So and I have a Timmy. I have that same Timmy pedal that's sitting there.
I have not even plugged it in yet. I've been so busy that I haven't had a chance
Yeah.
to do anything with it. Hopefully it works. I haven't plugged it in.
Yeah, I bought mine off of Derek Wells, so hopefully it has some good mojo in it.
I bought mine off of eBay.
Oh, I love eBay. That's awesome. Wow.
I got a good deal on it. They're going for like $300. I paid less than
What?
that. Yeah.
$300?
For that version, yeah.
Oh my gosh. I paid $100 for it.
How long ago did you get it? 5 or more
Yeah,
years ago?
yeah, it's been a while.
Well, the price has gone through the roof.
Well, it's good because it's a great sounding pedal. So,
I'm excited about it.
oh, you should be. It's great.
We should have plugged it up and played it.
Does it have some sort of like switch in the middle?
Yeah.
I don't think mine has that. Maybe it does. I don't know.
Is yours that size or is it
Yeah,
bigger?
no, because the Tim is that's like a $1,000 pedal now.
Yeah, that's the V1, the big body, as they call it, right? I don't actually know. I'm not very familiar with the pedal. As I said, I just got it, and I'm not even plugged it in.
I'm putting the beer in the gear and beer here, guys. Here we go. Listen to this sound. Oops.
It's okay.
Well, sorry. Whose mic is that?
It's mine, but
Oh, all right then. I'm not. That's
Yeah,
fine.
we'll
Yeah, who
we'll suck
cares?
that out with a straw later.
So we
I'll
finished.
put it in a bag of rice.
There you go. So then I have a delay. Oh, so for Christmas, I got this was Christmas 1999 probably. I got a whammy pedal because Tom Morello, duh. And it came with a coupon for a free Digitech pedal when you bought it, whatever.
Did you get the GT, the RP10?
What is that?
That was like their very first multi effects pedal.
Oh, no.
I got one in like 1991.
Oh, no.
But I was born just a couple of years after 1991. I'm very young and hireable.
Oh, yes, I can tell. But so the delay pedal I use on the board is a digital delay that I got for free. It's like this really dumpy like delay pedal. I don't know why I don't change it out.
Does it work?
Yeah.
That's why you don't?
But then sometimes like the knobs change and it's not easy to get it back to where I want and there's no tap. And
I have one of those. My DD6 does that.
It's like a gray, I don't know, whatever. It's some dumpy delay pedal. And that's all I use because when I'm playing electric guitar or slide like with Luke, I'm not doing any like subtle parts. It's like Beer Never Broke My Heart, like rock kind of stuff like that. And
whole notes and
yeah, just big
stuff.
big Caterpillar diamonds and then like lead guitar, like rock lead guitar.
Diamonds. I've not heard that term, but I know exactly what that means.
Yeah.
And I love that.
And then the boring part of my pedal board, and because my pedal board is really not that cool,
dude.
then it has like 10 DIs on it. So there's one for
What
each.
DIs?
Those, but green. Pro. Yeah.
The J48.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Jensen Transformer ones.
Sure.
Those are it is, and they're better. They sound better.
Oh, well.
The Pro 48 sounds good, but it's active. The J48 is a Jensen Transformer, which just kind of has its color or whatever, and then I'm pretty sure they're passive, so that's also cool.
And
because you don't have to be like, hey, bro, I need phantom power, and then they go out there and like, I'm not getting any signal, and you're like, hey, bro, I need phantom power.
Well, the cool thing about being on the road with Luke is that we have the same audio guys.
Yeah, that is cool.
And
what do they call that? Touring act?
Yes.
Copy.
Yeah. And but so all my stuff just goes straight like direct out to front of house, and which is a weird kind of naked feeling.
Yeah.
And my first, when I was building the board, I was like, well, I'm going to put.
Oh, wait. So even electric's going direct?
No. Just the acoustic stuff.
Oh, okay.
And
dobro. Are you playing like acoustic?
No.
Okay.
Oh, and I forgot, probably my favorite pedal is for dobro. I use the Jerry Douglas Fishman EQ pedal. Oh. And it's the coolest because the pickup by itself, like the Fishman pickup, it's great. But if you just plug it in, it sounds like shit. But then you get this. I mean, it doesn't sound like shit, but it doesn't sound like a dobro.
Right.
Then you get this pedal, and you turn it on, and you use the third mic setting because it's got all these mic like emulations. The third one's like a Neumann something.
Okay.
And then you just turn the mix up all the way, and then it sounds like a dobro, and it's incredible. It's unbelievable. I seriously it's the best.
Interesting.
Yeah, I love it.
What's the name again?
It's Fishman Jerry Douglas Aura.
Oh, AURA, Aura.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Aura.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, man, I'm not great at words, so don't take my word for it.
That's true.
Oh, wow, that's a weird thing to say. I'm not great at words. Don't take my word for it.
Because you're not good at it. And let's see, what other interesting gear things? So I was just telling you guys before we started the podcast, I just bought a new guitar, which is always really cool. And I've got new guitars recently. I'm like, cool, like I got a new guitar, like this fits this need I have for it or whatever.
Yeah.
But then I kind of just like impulsively bought this lap steel dobro hybrid thing, and it's the first time in a while like I've been like kind of geeking out on stuff. It's like super fun, cool guitar. I didn't bring it today because it needs to be set up and things, and the strings are super dead. But it's essentially like a dobro with a P90 in the neck, and it's not a big, thick acoustic. It's like a little kind of like lap steel, and has a hip shot tuner, so I can go from one tuning to the other, and you can set it to be from G flat to G, or open D to open G, or like A to G, or you can just set it whatever you want.
For every single tuner?
No, for like you can set your whole tuning the guitar.
How does that work?
So you know how Eddie Van Halen has that switch on his D string or E string to drop it down to E?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, but it's like a whammy. You got to look it up. It's hard to explain, but
Okay.
I can change the tuning of the guitar.
That's
And-
awesome.
So like on the live
But
set,
like that.
yeah, and it's great. It's almost like pushing the A and B pedals down on your pedal steel guitar. And so that's how I have it set right now. Because like
That's cool, man.
it's
very
awesome.
cool,
And like
actually.
a lot of the set, I play like dobro stuff in G, like open G tuning or half step down because Luke's half step down a lot. But then like on like songs like Cold as You or Beer Never Broke My Heart, it's like I'm playing like bottleneck slide and drop D down a half step and like open tuning, like so drop D flat open. And so now I could do this just with this. I could just rip everything instead of having to play bottleneck. I could just play it with slide, which I like the sound of generally a little bit better.
And that saves you a guitar switch.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of been my thing that I bought recently that I really
That's
like.
cool, man. I definitely want to check that out. Well, you'll have to bring it when you come back.
Yeah.
And I do hope you will come back.
Oh, no doubt. And the brand is Beard. So it's the same
Thank you.
brand
I was
as
just about to ask that.
it's the same brand as this one, but it's just this is my main dobro. This thing's really cool.
Dude, that thing sounds so good.
Check it out.
When I was
Whoa.
when I was downstairs, I was like, man, that sounds great. And the closer I got, the better it seemed to sound.
And the strings on it are super dead.
Kurt, tell me the name of the model of the other one more time so I can
Beard-
share it with everybody.
Beard Rhodophonic,
Okay.
I believe.
Cool.
We'll
Thank you.
We'll look it up later.
Yeah, I will definitely link that in the YouTube at least.
Yeah, and it's a super cool guitar. I'm just getting to know it, but it's got a stereo out on, so you can send the acoustic thing to like front of house, and you can send the P90 to like your
Anything.
JM
Yeah.
80,000 rock Marshall.
Mine's actually 80,001. I don't know if you were listening.
I know. I see that. She's got.
There's an extra one on it.
Oh yeah. So that's kind of the stuff I've been gear. What if I think I got something else recently.
The Jazzmaster? Or is it-
Yeah, the
have you-
Jazzmaster is somewhat new.
What color is that?
It's a dad blue. Were you setting me up for that or no? No, okay.
No, isn't it? It's
you
a
do have an
beautiful blue.
inside joke, man.
It's is it a Lake Placid?
You're in
blue?
the club, buddy.
I think so.
I think that's what they call that.
I don't know. I like that guitar a lot.
It's a great color, and I've never owned a Jazzmaster.
Well, I can play giant steps now really fast.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
man. Like at 380?
Like 381.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How does that pay?
It pays a lot. Yeah, I make a lot of money doing
Like
it.
tens upon tens of dollars a year.
So I got that guitar, which is great, and I have it set up for. I think it's got like 12s on it or something, and I just play slide on it. Maybe 11. I think actually no, it's like maybe it's 11s, and I had it tuned to like an open F tuning for one of Luke's songs called Blue Collar Boys, and but I just recently put it in open, and I don't know. Do you play slide a lot?
I play some.
Do you play in open tunings or standard? Or
I don't know very much about open tunings. I play standard. I just kind of like make it work, figure out.
that's what
I'm
Isabel
gonna do.
does. He's mainly playing in open tunings.
It's way harder, but I can play better chords with a slide on my finger.
I kind of like setting up my guitars like to play in open tunings to where I can't cover a lot of the. I mean, I can still play like power chords or whatever, but sometimes like I feel like kind of like a horn player where I'm just playing lines like in
That's
the
cool.
verses. So it's like this is what a horn player feels like, and I can still grab some like Nirvana kind of or drop D stuff or
Sure.
whatever, but when you've got a slide on your finger, then it makes it kind of hard to play sometimes.
I can totally understand that. Yeah, and with the different tuning, you can't just like, or at least I don't think I would be able to just be like, oh, I'm gonna add a 13 and a 9 to this chord.
Well, yeah, I don't know if there's a lot of that in the country music I'm playing in like arenas and stuff.
I don't know if you've been listening to the radio, man, but it's all 9s and 13s.
That's true. Well, they got that C chord now where it's like it's just like a G chord and you just move those two fingers down. That's got a 9.
You know,
in it.
I saw that on YouTube last week.
Yeah.
You are listening to the Gear and Beer Podcast. Today's episode is sponsored by Bobby Jam's Kitchen. Want to take your home cooking to the next level? Need new recipe ideas or meal inspiration? Like, follow, and subscribe to Bobby Jam's Kitchen on YouTube and Instagram at Bobby Jam's Kitchen. Cook your food and eat it.
Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that advertisement from Bobby Jam's Kitchen.
Bobby Jam's Kitchen, brought to you by Bobby Jam's Kitchen, brought to you by Gear and Beer, brought to you by Bobby Jam's Kitchen.
I was just going to say, okay, 30 minutes later, we're stuck in a loop again. It's like EP
Feedback
boosts.
loops is
Yeah.
the theme to Kurt Ozan's appearance.
Yes. All right, what were we rambling about? Oh, open tunings. So I play a bunch of information on the road, and everyone has a different tuning, and I know that you said you haven't messed around with it that much.
That sounds like brain prison.
Yeah, but like once you do it, then it's
Hello.
then it's muscle memory, you know.
Touche.
So and then you can just be
I
like,
can see getting on board with it, and I'm going to have to, presumably, if as a utility.
music. Yeah, now so you're learning the steel now. Let's talk about that.
I'm relearning the steel. I used to be able to play a little bit, but that was a solid 10 years ago.
Wow, that's a long time ago for someone that's only
lost
21.
Nothing. Yeah, you know, when I was 10 and 11, I was really like, I was shredding it, and it was great, and everybody was hiring me, and then I just got busy, you know, playing bass, and that's kind of sucks.
Actually, speaking of bass, there was a time where like when I was in town, and we were talking about auditions earlier, and one of the auditions I did was to play bass in a wedding band. And I had bought this yellow P bass.
First mistake.
No, it was cool. It
Wait,
was
like
banana,
yellow?
like banana pudding with like a tortoise shell pickguard.
Okay,
P
I'm
bass.
back.
It was
I'm back in.
It was super cool, and I was like learning like what's that Grease song that everyone plays at weddings? I don't know. I was like learning all these like bass lines and stuff, and I ended up. It was Footloose. That's what it was.
Oh, that's not Grease.
Yeah, I was close, but it's got that fast bass line in it. And I was like,
I played that the other night. I know that bass line note for note. It took like 2 weeks.
it's
to
not
learn.
easy, right?
It's not.
Also,
Nathan East on that.
John Jorgensen
Wait, really?
too, right?
Yeah.
Huh?
Is that John Jorgensen?
Dude, it's gotta be.
I mean,
There's
it might
no
be.
way it's not.
I don't know.
I also think I looked.
If
it up
only
like
somebody here was sitting in front of a computer with a screen.
that. You know what?
Well, the point I was making is that I sold the bass, and then that's when I bought. I kind of like had this moment where I sold that and bought a dobro pickup and that pedal, and that's kind of where I was like, I'm not going to do the bass thing. I'm going to do this dobro thing.
Well, I like the bass thing, and
I love bass.
I've
but-
made a living playing bass and guitar for 10 years now. I started playing bass 10 years ago because I got a bass gig. I had to borrow a bass and a bass amp. I didn't even have the instruments. People, you know, I've encountered that here, and I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, wait, I did that. I was once an idiot, and I don't recommend getting a gig on an instrument you don't own. That can promote stress, that can promote anxiety, and it can promote
I've done it. I've done it many
soup
times.
sandwich playing.
Yeah, I remember like agreeing to a gig and then not having like the gear to do it, and then I had to like call companies to see if they'd give me a discount so I can get a mandolin with a pickup in it or some random stuff. My mom would say it's like baptism by fire. It's like you figure it out or you don't.
You cull or be culled.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm still around, and so are you. So
Here we
not
are,
that
dude.
bad. Now we're drinking beer. in
We're
your
patchwork
studio.
Renaissance men.
Yeah. I definitely think like if I were to give advice to anyone in Nashville that's looking to make a living in music, that it would just to diversify your portfolio for sure. You know, musically speaking.
Yeah, even if whether you're talking about instruments or just the stuff that you listen to and try to learn and just vocabulary as a musician, even if you don't use it, to have it is everything.
Yeah.
Even if you're not necessarily drawing specifically from a genre, like I track country songs. I'm not thinking about Aretha Franklin tunes, but I've spent a lot of time in Aretha Franklin tunes, and I can guarantee you that it influences down the, or whatever. Plug in genre and then different genre. And it makes you better, in my opinion. The more music you know, the better you make music, right?
I think so.
That makes
I
sense
agree.
to me.
That's kind of been my MO in town. It's like I moved here to be a guitar player, and I owned a banjo, but I didn't know how to play it. And I owned a dobro, and I couldn't play in tune or anything. And even being just a really bad dobro player and had no idea what I was doing banjo-wise, I still was getting more work on that than I was playing electric guitar. It was just a lot easier. I was meeting a lot more people, I guess. So I think that once you start getting pedal steel going, like, I think you'll really enjoy it. Plus, it's really fun, and it's
I
really
love it.
cool
It's a beautiful instrument. It's one of my. I don't know that it's my favorite instrument, but it is.
No.
I think the B3 is probably my favorite instrument. Nothing moves air and elicits a feeling from your body physically like a B3. Like somebody who really knows how to operate the B3. Not even like a piano player, but like a B3
I get
magician.
it. I know
you
what
know,
you're saying.
I love that.
When we did auditions for like a keys guy, I think we did like 4 people, and one guy came in with like his Leslie speaker and was just cranking. And guess who got the gig?
That guy.
Yeah.
The guy came in and tickled everybody's inner child.
Yeah. Also, we had a lot of weirdos come in. Like one guy came in, like this is auditioning for Luke Combs, country singer, right? This guy's like, yeah, I'm not really into country music that much. And we're like,
who asked that person to audition?
I don't know. I wasn't in charge of it. And I'm just like, get the fuck out of here.
Is that a management? It's got to be a management.
No,
thing.
it wasn't. But so then we had a bunch of weirdos, and then this one guy was like, he had like cool gear, and now it breaks a lot, but of course that's vintage gear, and it was nice. So that's how he ended up with the gig. But don't be weird, people. Don't be. Won't work.
That's today's tip from Kurt Ozan.
Unless you're in Austin, I guess, right?
Yeah, then you got to keep it weird.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that necessarily is great in all situations or scenarios. But
yeah, well, you know what I mean. Like, be weird in a good way.
Yeah,
don't be weird. In a bad way.
Be weird as in be yourself, quirky or otherwise, and people will like you because you're comfortable with you, Kurt. You know
that's true.
And here on Gear and Beer, we want to encourage everyone to be comfortable with themselves.
I agree.
Even if you look like this, I'm comfortable.
You look comfortable.
I feel like I don't look comfortable. I would probably be comfortable to use as a pillow, with the exception of all the noises and the opinions,
gurglings and things.
Yeah, you know.
I get.
I don't know what's going on.
Well, should I pull my dobro out and you guys can look at it and I'll play something and.
Yeah, you should do that. But first, I had one question. Are you carrying multiple dobros for different tunings, or are you now going to move over to that, or is that just like a thing to like get rid of an extra guitar part? I'm sorry, what was it called?
The Rotophonic?
The Rotophonic.
Well, I bought that mainly for its like electric playing because there's a lot of like lap steel stuff. Because some guys will play like pedal steel distorted and they can get away with it, like Robert Randolph.
Yeah.
But I like for that kind of stuff.
But you have to get on your knees to do that.
No, well, he sits down and plays it, right?
Well, sometimes he gets on his knees.
Well, not when he's playing pedal steel though. That's because he plays that PV lap steel differently. Right?
I feel like it doesn't matter. I'm sorry. Continue.
But I bought that just
my brain's not very good.
No, I bought that that specific guitar to cover like the distorted like slide sounds on the record.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. And dobros have capos too, which is interesting.
How does that work? Is it clamp on both sides? Do you have one on that one?
Yeah. I don't have one. It's in my guitar case, but it kind of just clamps free floating on the strings.
Okay.
Which is pretty interesting.
That makes sense.
Look at that cool guitar. Is that in frame? I hope so.
It's probably not in focus, but it is
It's
in
like
frame.
Made of
If
trees.
it's not in frame, we got a whole series of issues.
Kurt, would you like me to grab it?
Huh?
You want me to grab it?
Grab what?
You said
I have a girlfriend, dude.
No, you said the capo was in the case.
No one cares about a capo. Screw capos.
All right.
Hey, man. Jazz guys don't like capos.
I use capos. Do you guys use? I use capos all the time.
All the time?
Absolutely. You
If
can't.
Doc Watson used a capo, then I'm going to use a capo.
Well, if that's how it's recorded, then you should use a capo.
Yeah, it feels good.
It does feel good. They use the capo for a reason. You get open strings. There's
Tone.
added resonance and tone, fingering, and ability to play things differently.
Yeah.
People who are not using capos on some sort of like soapbox about cheating or whatever can kick rocks.
I agree. And Doc Watson even called it. I saw him play at the Newport Folk Festival in like 2010, and he was like, "Oh, let me get my cheater on." And he was talking about his capo. I'm like, okay, well, I'll never. And then, because I go to bluegrass jams, some guys will just do everything without it. But like the guys that aren't doing it, like, sound better.
Yeah.
I think. But there's me on my soapbox. I like to use a capo.
So, have you considered a git steel?
What? What is that?
Are you familiar with Junior Brown?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That's a git steel.
Yes, that would be cool. I heard his guitar got stolen.
Really?
Yeah, my dad's a Junior Brown fan, so he sent me like a link about it. Like, I don't know if it was recovered
What
or not.
asshole stole that? Like they're gonna ever be able to sell it and not get in trouble?
They probably didn't know what they were stealing. They probably open it up and they go, "What the hell is this thing?"
Somebody built this in a barn.
Yeah,
Right.
that would be cool though. I literally don't need it at all.
No,
but
but-
it would be awesome.
Man.
I have a lot of stuff I don't need that I use.
Well, that's kind of what this show embraces. That.
Yes.
Hey, I need all of these. All these things, I need them. That's why I've stacked them up.
I'm in the market for new gear actually, and so I will ask your opinion on this.
Okay.
So I have what I use with on the road is on the road,
Yeah.
and it lives in amp carts. So I'm not pulling my amp out. It's like not like duct tape down, but they got it wrapped down with like zip ties, but big ones, big boys. Zip ties.
Secured.
Yes. And so like now at home, the amps I have are that PV amp, the Nashville 400 112 or whatever, and then I have this like weird like PRS, like weird amp that they don't make it.
Well, we briefly discussed this on a text earlier.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about that because I have a little more information now.
Well, I sold a lot of gear when I was moving, and a lot of stuff I didn't use.
From Florida here? Florida
No, just
to
in
here?
Nashville, just from East
Oh.
Nashville to East Nashville, different
Oh,
parts.
okay. Down the street.
And I was just selling stuff just because like I don't like have a lot of stuff in the house, but
You don't want to be on that show that we were talking about?
yeah, hoarders, yeah, definitely not. And so I'm looking for like I need something to have in town. Like if you're playing in Nashville and you could have one amp to do sessions with, like what would you recommend?
Are you speaking about for all the different things that you do?
Well, just like because I do like sessions, like
Are you doing? But I'm saying, are you doing them mostly on steel? Or are you doing them
no,
on multiple
let's just say
instruments?
electric guitar.
Electric guitar. I would say either this one or this one.
Okay, so
This one or one of this type. This exact amp or a Princeton style. This particular third power is a little better than just like a Princeton, or it's it's got a little more versatility sonically in my opinion.
it's a 10-inch speaker or 12-inch?
It's a 12.
Okay, I'd want a 12-inch, I think.
Yeah,
And then-
I'm not a big fan of 10s. Not, at least not one of them.
Yeah, and I have the DC-30s like my backline amp.
Okay, well, that's what that is.
So
Well, it's a C30. It's obviously there's no speakers attached.
right, but that's just a DC-30, right?
No, HC30. DC30 is the one with it's a 212 combo.
But it's like the same, similar.
C30 is the model.
Those
They've
things
got-
are so loud though. Like to get to
Dude.
where, oh my god,
They're so loud.
I don't care because I'm like,
One thing that I did is I put an AT7 in V1.
I don't know what that means.
So the first position preamp tube for the first channel,
Yeah.
I put a AT7, which reduces the gain and the overall volume. So I usually run this channel just like this. and I'm not even kidding.
which I love. I hate too many knobs.
Dude, that's why I love this
Mesa
amp.
Boogie amp have all this like.
You play this channel and you have literally two things. You got a toned rotary. There's only 6 positions and you've got a volume. This cut works on either channel. It's basically like the opposite of a presence knob. This is the brightest and this is the darkest.
Makes sense.
And this master volume only works if you pull it out, and I never do that because it doesn't sound as good. It is a little bit. It is
Okay, I'll buy this
functional.
amp from you.
Well, you can't.
Okay.
But you can buy your own for $3,600 from that.
Sorry.
No, you can find them cheaper than that used, and they are the most durable product that I have ever purchased.
Good. So the amp I'm using.
Good.
Yeah, I'm like, if I'm paying that much money for it, I want it to be good.
No doubt about that.
But what I have at the house is I have like a little rinky-dink practice amp, and I also have a.
Small amps, big sounds, though, man.
Yeah, but this is like a little. It's almost like a toy, but I use it
Smaller
in
than
practice.
like a Champ or something.
Yeah, it's
like a
literally like
Marshall.
it's a battery-powered little thing like this.
Copy.
Blackface or Black. What's the name of that company?
Black Star.
Black Star. Yeah, a little. I don't know. I like it. I just bring it with me like on the road to practice. You fit it in your gig bag. Then I have that PRS amp, which is cool, and so I messaged them because I have a deal with PRS through Luke, and I'm like, hey, I need an amp for just for at home and for sessions and stuff because I'm tired of like taking all my stuff off like the set cart. Like it's a huge pain in the ass. Like I can't do it.
You need a studio rig and you need a road rig.
And I'm like, they're like, what do you want? I'm like, well, I kind of want to just like get an old. I was looking at getting an old Bassman, but I don't want to deal with like the pain in the ass of having a vintage amp.
Well, it's not that big of a deal if you're just taking it back and forth through a studio and you're in control of how it's handled. It's not in a trailer at 80 miles an hour for 10 hours or something. So
Jiggling it around, but
yeah, and you can also, you could put it in a road case and just then take very good care of it after that, and you'll be fine.
yeah. And so I emailed them, my rep, Rich, and he was like, well, I'm like, I know you guys sell amps. I don't know anything about PRS amps at all. And so Rich went to Paul and was like, hey, like Kurt wants this. Like, I didn't like, it's crazy. Like that's a huge company, but the people that work there are just, there's a small group and they're all super nice and super attentive.
Paul's got his hands in and on everything. We were talking about that with Mark, and I think that's remarkable for a company of that size, which is why people continue. Well, first of all, they're really good at getting their instruments and people who are both notable and worthy's hands, and then just quality control is through the roof with them, which is awesome.
And they sent me this amp head, and he's like, I'm like, hey, and it gets here, and I have no idea what it is, and it says Dallas on it, or Dallas 2 or something. And I'm like, and I was telling him I want something that I could turn up and have it break up a little bit and then push it with pedals. And I wrote the rep back, I'm like, hey, this amp, it says Dallas. It's like, I Googled it, and it's supposed to be like kind of a clean amp. And then I'm playing it, and it's like, it's really over, like, what's going on? It didn't sound like the reviews online at all. And because it was really overdriven, but not in like a, Mesa Boogie amp channel switching kind of thing. Just like it has a preamp and a master, and if I turn the preamp up a lot, it disordered a lot. And it broke up early too. And he's like, "Oh, that amp is not the Dallas." Paul had sent. I told him that you wanted like a Bassman killer, and so that's what Paul was tinkering around and just threw that together, and we just shipped it to you.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it sounds great. It needs a little bit of love because it's just been in my house forever, and I think something's rattling in it. I don't know, but you heard it. I mean, on your phone, which doesn't count, but
yeah, I'm about to say I did hear it on my phone. And it sounded great, but that was on my phone, so
yeah.
I may have actually had it plugged in my car when I looked at that. Needless to say, it's not the same thing as being there in the room. I can't hear the nuance.
But so I'm thinking about, I have that, and I was thinking about just getting something else too. I'd like to have like a little Princeton kind of thing. So my buddy Brad was raving about some of the newer Fender amps, like the Chris Stapleton Princeton and stuff like that. And he's like telling me he's got a couple Princetons. He's like, you got to come over and play. He's like, they're so great. Have you played any of the fake? I shouldn't say fake, but the solid state Fender amps.
I have, but not in any like capacity to have an opinion.
I have a little bit, and I went and played a Tele directly into a deluxe reverb, and it's like as the amp is as light as this beer. It's like super light, and it sounds amazing. They sound really good.
And it's a solid state deluxe.
Yeah, it's like they have like alien technology in there. I don't know. You just go try one. I went to like SIR, I guess. So they have that Fender showroom.
Yeah.
And when I was getting that phaser pedal I was telling you about.
Oh yeah.
And I was just waiting for them to figure that out, and I was playing through stuff. I'm like, this sounds great, and they're like, they're like, pick it up. And I was like, what?
So then it's got Neo speakers then, and it's solid state, so it's super lightweight.
They have those at Old Red.
Do they really?
Yeah, that's the house amp now.
And how do you like it? Have you played through it?
I have. Yeah, I mean,
I was impressed with
I've
it.
seen them there. I think
it sounds great. The only thing I noticed is like the response is slightly
facade,
different.
right?
No, they have a black face in there.
Well, there's a silver face by the bass amp.
I'm sure that they have a silver face version of the AA.
I wonder. I don't know. I've never even thought about it.
But dude, it sounded great, and the sound guys love it. Not just because it's more quiet, but because they actually like how it sounds.
And you can attenuate it, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah,
yes.
which is great.
Because presumably, if it's
solid state doesn't matter.
yeah, it's got a digital out on the back of some sort.
I don't know if it. I don't know about them, but that's something to check out. Maybe I'll go get that Chris Stapleton Princeton or something.
Man, those I've heard great things about those Princeton's, and this seems to come up on this podcast because we talk about guitars a lot. But the best the way to get big sounds these days seems to be with small amps. It's like the Mike Campbell approach. Always he plays a Princeton and a Tweed, it's like a 2 18-watt amps. Mm-hmm. But he runs, I don't know if he runs them in parallel or in stereo, or maybe one's dry and one's wet. But they're two tiny little amps, and you can listen to any Tom Petty recording, and he doesn't sound tiny.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So, I've been using this through the aux a lot in sessions. So when I do a session lately, I've been taking this and this and that.
Why?
Because this does everything this doesn't. I could do any gig with either one of these amps. Any gig. A straight ahead jazz gig or a metal gig or anything in between. And with all the speaker combinations that affords you, with the feel of a real amp and the actual color of your real amp and the quality of the emulation and the options that you have with the miking, and there's like minimal onboard effects, but they're UA effects. So it's like at 1176, there's a plate verb, and there's a UA EQ, and then there's a something else. What am I missing?
Let's turn that speaker volume up.
Yeah, all the way up, man. I can't hear it. I still can't hear it.
Well, I do sessions at home, and I'm not very like technologically advanced with it. Like I'm like, oh, there's my amp. I put my mic in front of it, and it's like,
what mic?
It's a Russian Octava mic.
What kind of a mic is it?
A large diaphragm condenser mic.
Okay.
And then I have a 57, and I have a pair of ribbons that I use sometimes for dobro and stuff.
When in doubt, 57 and out.
Yep, true.
I just made up that catchphrase.
But I'd like to up my recording game a little bit, and especially with pedal steel. It's like if I'm in the same room as the amp playing electric guitar, then it could be over there, and I'm just over here with my cans on. But with pedal steel, you hear me stomping on the ground, and because I don't have carpet, you hear like the pedals clanking. Yeah. So I have to figure that out. But if I had something like that, then I wouldn't have to worry about it.
You could just get a longer speaker cable and
put the amp outside and let them.
Or you have the amp inside if you.
Yeah, there's a lot of easier solutions than buying an aux, but I'm just interested in.
No, the aux is not an easy solution, but it is an incredible one. It is. Somebody, I mean, you could honestly probably be like, call and flash your Luke Combs credential kind of a thing.
I don't know about UA. I mean, if they, that'd be cool if they did.
Maybe not with UA because they are total like proprietary. You look at proprietary in the dictionary and there's a picture of UA and then Apple.
Yeah.
Sponsor us, by the way.
Yeah.
Good luck, guys.
You want to hear a better opinion? Pay me.
Yeah. Right. That's true.
It's like, you know what it's like? It's like you pay me.
That's true.
That was a Goodfellas quote. Thank you. Good night.
I think eventually I'll probably get some sort of modeling thing. I just like, we have amp carts out on the road, and like we have a great crew, and the best crew, and there's just no reason for me. It's not like I'm having to worry about fly dates and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like, why not just have a cool Marshall amp out or a Tyler amp?
Totally, man. I totally
I'm preaching
agree.
the choir here, of course, I'm sure, but it's like, and that thing's loud. I keep it up like at 6 or something.
Do you guys fire them on stage or do you have them isolated?
They are on stage facing back.
Okay.
So when all the people are like,
The amps are any separate heads you can face forward, but cabinets are facing backward.
no, all of it. I don't see any of the amp on stage at
okay.
all.
Do you have them baffled on the back of the amp?
No, it's just firing off.
Are any of them open back?
My cab is open back, I think.
So you get. I mean, obviously you're running ears, but just for me, the way the sound coming out of the speaker interacts with the instrument, even in a big room.
I don't think I'm getting in a lot of that.
You're probably. I mean,
Because the amp's backstage and I'm at the front of the stage or on the catwalk, I'm not even close to the amp.
well, with an acoustic instrument, it doesn't really matter as long as it's not feeding back because you're getting all those vibrations. It picks them up a lot easier. But electric instruments, to me, just when it's vibrating right, it just like feels like
It's
butter.
the best.
You
Yeah,
know
of
what
course.
I'm saying?
Yeah, I love loud amps. So,
But you don't necessarily need the amp. I think you can get that with front of house and playing arenas or whatever sheds or whatever like you guys are playing.
yeah, that's true. And I tell you what, everyone makes fun of me because like I noodle a lot. I don't know if you guys do that. Like in sound check, I'm like, if I have an instrument in my hand, I'm just playing constantly.
Mm-hmm.
But
in sound check, yes.
yes. But when you're sound checking in an arena and you just pull your ears out and you hear that amp, just like it's the best feeling, man.
That cavernous
It's like
reverb.
you go like da-ga-da, and it gets like, ooh, I can't wait to get back on the road.
Just kind of hear it swooshing around the place, man. Yeah,
and you're just like,
amazing.
you play that one lick that is like kind of cool that you know how to do, and all the local guys are like, whoa.
All the stage hands are like,
Yeah.
man, I'm gonna call him.
No, they're like all smoking weed and falling asleep under the stage. Man, I can't wait to get back on the road. Woo!
Same,
let's go.
bro. Yeah, let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Gears and Beer. This is Kurt Ozan, one of my favorite guests so far. I appreciate
it,
you
man.
joining
Thank you, man.
us. We'll have you back soon, and you'll bring the
Rhodophonic by
Phonic.
Paul Beard.
Look up Paul Beard. If you don't have one, grow a beard.
Yeah, you definitely could grow a beard.
We'll
That's
post
what
a
I-
link, by the way.
Yeah, we'll post a link to Kurt and my beard. Kurt's and my beard. Kurt's and
Our
my beard.
beards. Okay.
Yeah, why couldn't you have interjected sooner?
I don't know.
You just gonna let me dangle for a minute?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for tuning in. We're gonna call this because I need to feed these people. Hashtag Bobby Jam's Kitchen. Follow Gear and Beer online. Follow Kurt Ozan 251 on Instagram for amazing photographs of
Thank you.
amazing content. If you want to talk about quality cure and curation, my man Kurt has got it
Thank
on lock. Kurt Ozan, I'm Rob Miller, Lyndon McCarty, twisting and tweaking. Gear and Beer. See you next episode. Peace out. Thank you for listening to the Gear and Beer podcast. Make sure and subscribe and turn on notifications for our channels. And if you haven't already, follow our Instagram and YouTube channels. We truly appreciate your support and ask that you please tell anyone you know whom you think might be interested in our podcast about gear and beer to help us grow and continue bringing in great guests from around the industry and beyond. Thanks again, and until the next episode.